All right, guys. What's happening, guys? Welcome to the live stream today. Okay, it is a Wednesday for me. Let's get it. Let's tap in. Hey there, guys. How's it going? Welcome to the live stream. My name is Sumit Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy. I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today, we're talking all about autotelic dating. Okay, autotelic dating. This idea. So, auto and telos are two Greek roots. Auto means the self, Autobots, right? Self-bot, which is interesting. Auto means self. Telos means goal. So you are self-driven. The task is a reward by itself. This is the mentality that shifts you and it makes you magnetic. What do I mean by magnetic? You've heard of the law of attraction. You become like a magnet with this energy. This is what's so powerful about the flow state. Because if you have an autotelic personality, you have more flow state propensity, which means you have an ability to tap in to the zone, to the flow state, a lot more than other people. This is very interesting, guys. Okay. So, AZD a class ago, and I think Trent Lara, shout out to you, bro. You brought up this idea of the law of assumption, right? The law of assumption. Now, to assume the reality as it is, as you want it to be, but it already is. Time just hasn't caught up yet, baby. Okay? So that's the vibe. Thinking of the end result, skipping through all of the noise, skipping through all the bullshit that we have to go through, right? Like we have to go through a lot of bullshit, right? Specifically in online dating. So if you're playing this game in an autotelic way, which means communication is a reward by itself, right? You being able to express yourself and communicate is the reward, is the benefit, is the glow up, is the transformation, is the self improvement, is the character development, right? So the comfort zone breaking is a new pattern emerging. This is what I want you to start to understand about autotelic text messaging, okay? Obviously, the bigger, wider scheme of things is my product alongside, Ryan G and Alex P. We have a product called Matches into Dates. We're teaching men this new art form of texting in the most purest, most genuine way, where you don't have to worry about who you're going to be, but you're slowly stepping into your most natural self, natural evolved self. Because we start to realize, man, yes, it does start out being about dating, but then you start learning about yourself throughout this process because all relation is self-relation. Okay, all hate is self-hate, all love is self-love. Okay, so the fact that you love this person, as a AZD would say, as long as you would love this person, notice that you are love. That's why you are loving, right? Maybe she might not love you back because she doesn't access that feeling. You have access to that feeling. You have access to love. Okay. So just you accessing certain emotions is a reward by itself. It's like heaven, yeah, sign me up right away. Because the thing about it is making her feel the emotion is reward enough. Because who else has that kind of emotional depth? No man has that emotional depth. They can't go there. They can't swim and be at the bottom of the ocean. That's the image I want to give you. As a grounded man, you are like the bottom of the ocean, and she is the ocean. Okay? But you got to hold her in place. Because if you're scattered, she's going to be scattered. She's going off of your energy. Okay? You are the powerful mirror here. You are the structure. So if your structure starts to break internally, she's going to break internally. And this kind of sets up a lot of pressure for a lot of people, right? For a lot of guys and stuff. Um, so this is what I want to tell you guys, right? Don't approach this whole system or this whole game, whatever you want to call it, right? This whole, communication style, talking with people, social dynamics, whatever you want to call this thing, right? Don't approach this from selfishness, bro, right? You got to ask yourself the question of what's in it for me and what's in it for her. Okay? Because they're thinking, what's in it for me? Like this whole relationship thing with you, right? Where's the value that you're bringing to the table? Now, when you become a valuable man just by your mere existence, that makes this game a lot more natural, right? It makes it easy. It makes it very easy. And this is what I want to teach you guys. I don't want you guys to have 1,000 different steps, right, to get to the finish line. Why not accept that you are at the finish line already and live from there, right? So assume you are already there, and it's not assuming too much. That's not what I'm saying, right? Because if you assume like, oh yeah, she probably has a boyfriend. Oh no, she's with her friends. Oh no, she's you have some other excuse thinking about like, oh, you're assuming that it's too much. But what if it's too little, right? Looking at things from different angles. And I was watching this show, man, and I started to realize I'm really triggered by this guy, It was like some reality show. I just came across it. And I'm like, yo, what is it? Why am I feeling this emotional reaction towards another man? Like, what is going on here, right? Is it jealousy? Is it whatever? And then I started to notice a pattern of that character in myself. It always comes back to the self. Okay. Your triggers are spotlights. They're things for you to zoom in on. They aren't things to ignore and kind of like whisk past, right? And so as I started to do some deep exploration, I'm like, wait a minute, expose the mind. What did the mind just think of right then? What made me feel that emotional like pull to get angry for some other guy, like, and how he's behaving? Maybe I want to take care of him. Maybe he's my younger me. Maybe he's my more evolved me, right? And this is what we have to start to understand. If other people have a pull on your emotions, you don't have control over your mind. Okay? And so it all starts in the mind, right? So it's all in the state of mind, as our mentor AZD says. So, I'm successful because I don't need anything from anyone. You see, this is autotelic game. This is this understanding of, it's not a location. Success is not a location, Success is not some event that I do. Happiness, confidence, it's a state of mind, right? It's a state of mind. And so happy people are everywhere. You see, I look outside in India right now and I see the poorest people, but they're smiling, they're happy, So you got to understand that, right? When you are approaching a beautiful woman, understand that she is so insecure. She's insecure in a million ways that you don't see. And you're asking yourself in a non-simp type way, you're asking yourself, how can I make her feel amazing? Right? You see, if you're doing that from the simp frame, right, you're going, oh, she's above me. I'm looking up at her. That's where the problem is. No, you got to be looking at the same eye level as her. You know what I mean? Like, the nice guy's only needing her approval. But the thing about the bad boy is he's always taking. So what do we got to be? We got to be the good bad boy in a sense. We got to be a good man, but solid, masculine, in a sense, strong, right? A little bit rebellious, not just being a normie, right? Not just going with whatever society tells us, okay? So the Jedi or the bad boy only wants her to feel good about herself. Okay. Um, and intention in this art form changes everything. If you have an intention as you're communicating, if you have an intention as you're doing your rituals, if you have an intention, that changes, that transforms everything, right? So, I mean, think about this, man. Like, this system and this understanding that we can actually skip all of these steps, right? And get to the finish line is actually a pretty freeing experience. It's like, I'm confident right now. I think I need the degree. I think I need the record label. I think I need this other thing, right? To give me permission to be what I already know I am. It's wild. It's trippy, right? And so if you already know that you are there, you are at the finish line, you are living from that, right? You're living from your goals. You're not thinking about your goals logically, right? You're not thinking about your goals, right? That's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna set up this, and then I'm gonna do this other thing. No, you're reverse engineering from the perspective of you already having accomplished that thing that you want. And so you go, oh yeah, and then I did that thing. And this is why I see it almost like a rewind reel in my mind, right? It's weird, bro. It's like I can see myself going to Bali and approaching a beautiful woman there and us growing to have something special. Like I can see that in my mind. It's weird. It's weird. But when you replay something in your mind so many times, it just feels automatic, right? And this is the natural archetype coming into play. It feels automatic. It doesn't feel forced anymore. It's not like you're trying to do something. So my advice to you would be explore your emotions, because the emotions is still the mind being exposed, right? The movements that you have in your mind exposing the truth. So when you can understand this, you can explore how would you react to a situation. Okay, so like let's say you get shocked. How do you get shocked in a sexy way? Right? Is it like this? Is it like this? Whoa. Huh? Whoa. Whoa. Right? And doing that seems silly, right? But it is the in the silliness, when you have silliness and that creates wisdom for others, that's when you're truly tapping into this frequency, right? Because this energy is so powerful. You just got to practice your reactions. Okay? Practice your reactions because we need reactions all the time, right? We need reactions all the time. What is your excited reaction? Okay? Oh my goodness. Are you going like that? Would you really want to do that in the movie of your life? Right? And you go, no, what the, I'm doing that? And you see yourself on camera and you're going, wait, do I even look like that? Do I even sound like that? Bro, what's going on, right? And you start to judge yourself. So instead of the judging yourself, you got to get curious about yourself. You almost have to make yourself a detective of your internal world, Sherlock Holmes of your internal world, where you take over the mind palace, right? You take over between what is in your temples, right? Your religious building right here. There's architecture here, real estate, the most expensive real estate, right? In the world. So when you can activate what is in here, it will show up neurochemically through your hormones, through your experiences, right? Out there. So you have to give yourself permission to be great. You have to walk into, oh, it's live stream. Well, I'm already doing it, buddy, you know? So thank you for that reminder. But in any case, man, what is going on here reflects out there, right? So if knowing yourself first is truly knowing another person. Okay? Because once you get a high level of a self-esteem, your experience with talking to people is going to change. It's wild. It's wild how that correlates. A lot of people in this generation, they have very low self-esteem, okay? Low self-esteem because other people have been, pointing a finger at them all the time and they feel like they're at the cause. They're at the effective life, I mean, right? They feel like they've been pushed, that they're at the effective life and they're just in their reactions. But what if you practiced your reactions, right? This is what I'm telling you, like, practice one movement, because this is what I was doing last night unconsciously, and I didn't know why I was doing it, right? I would just be like, what is your what the fuck face, like the WTF face? What is that for you? Is it like like practicing this kind of stuff and like doing it over and over and over and over again in the repetition, it's slowly ingraining it more into your brain. It's like chipping away at a piece of wood, right? You're going tick, 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 and it's digging deeper, right? And so that's what I want you to think of. If you want a specific catchphrase, a specific archetype, body posture that you want to hold, just practice holding that for a minute or something. You know what I mean? Like, if you want better posture, imagine you have like giant angel wings, as Yogi Chris taught me a while back, right? Giant angel wings, and just holding that for a solid, like, set a timer for 30 seconds and just holding that for 30 seconds and seeing the resistance that comes up. Like, oh man, I want to do this so badly right now. I just want to drop my shoulders so bad. Whew. What am I thinking? Oh, my neck is getting kind of tense. All of this stuff is going to come up, but it is the dojo. The art form is being present with it and being okay, being comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? That's the true art form. How can I be comfortable with the uncomfortable? Because it's not comfortable feeling emotions for somebody else. It's not. Oh man, it's not. It's a very intense experience, okay? Sometimes it feels like your heart's about to pound out of your chest, right? When you're in love with someone. And they say love is blind, right? But think about this, the terms that we use to describe love, right? Head over heels. Oh, you mean you flipped upside down? Like love made you trip over? You mean you fell in love? No, man, I rose in love, okay? We have to start changing the words around, right? Because when we're describing these experiences, we don't want it to be this negative experience. But when we start understanding ourselves, we understand our equivalent, our female equivalent in this case, right? What would be your female equivalent, right? And this is something I got from Ryan G. I bet he's watching right now. Shout out to you, brother. You know, Finding out the idea of like, okay, if this girl was a man, right? If this woman was an actual dude, would I hang out with him? Would I trust his logic? Would I trust him with my business? If the answer is no, there's some corrections that need to be taken place, right? You need to set some healthy boundaries. Okay? You need to understand that, okay, there's certain people who are going to come into my life a very specific way, and there's certain people that are going to leave, like coming and going, like a restaurant. What if you had the restaurant doors closed, man? You're not letting anybody in. It's like, dude, your heart is blocked. You know what I mean? You're not letting anybody in. It's just like, sorry, we closed down, right? It's like, dude, like open the restaurant doors, let the customers come in, let the air breeze a little bit, open the windows up, because that's how people are walking around, like they have this little black box, right, that they're hiding from everybody else, and nobody can really see what's going on in there. We're not living open-hearted. We're not living from that space of, trust and openness and gratitude and, joy. We're like these little, tiny little black boxes that are just like, trying to hold all this energy and reserve it, so no one can, hurt us again. Like, bro, what my business coach Joe said, you got to give them an idea of what's inside the black box. So if you say no, there's actually candy inside of here. Now they have some kind of an idea that, okay, oh yeah, candy doesn't sound too bad. At least it's not like a snake or whatever, And they trust you more because the words create the trust. So what are the words that you're telling yourself each day, right? Are they generating more trust? Or does it make you trust yourself less? Ooh, right? Like, are your words making you trust the character that you're being? This is where integrity comes into play, right? Because integrity is who are you being when nobody's watching. And man, this is the deepest inner work, right? Ryan, by the way, I'm gonna post that quote that I told you yesterday in the masterclass. We have these masterclasses, right, that last for like 5 hours, 6 hours, right? And there's always some gold nuggets. Last night we gave Zay, who is, currently creating our website, um, we were giving him a bit of a masterclass. And, I said something which was very interesting, man, because I've been thinking of this concept. I think I'm going to post it as a quote today as well. So the idea is, what if you having imposter syndrome is the imposter, right? And I love this idea of giving the thing that you're in combat with a taste of its own medicine. Like doubt your doubts or procrastinate on your procrastination, right? These kinds of concepts, like, it's very deep. It's meta, right? No wonder Facebook turned it into meta, okay? Because of this law. um, so in a sense, man, when we have this imposter syndrome, we feel like, oh man, you know, am I being like a false version of me, right? Or people gonna find something out about me, right? We're living in this kind of secrecy mode almost. And hey, yeah, that's valid. Like, I'm a Scorpio, I like my privacy and things like this. But at the same time, it's like that restaurant analogy. The restaurant doors are closed, so nobody's getting any value from you, right? Maybe you have one customer trapped in there, and you're like, "Don't leave me, don't leave my restaurant," you know. And she's like, "Yo, I'm just trying to go outside for like a quick smoke break or something," and you're like, "No, no," And we get attached to people like this, right? Hey, you can leave, you can come in. My doors are open, right? My doors are open. That's the vibe, right? So let people come in and let people go, but you keep maintaining the frequency and the character that you want. That's your core intention. Your core intention is a care for the character, right? Caring for the character. Okay? We have this thing that we say, it's like an inside joke in the master class. We say, like cocaine and heroin, right? Another shout out, Ryan. So in a sense, man, I've been looking at these female archetypes as well. So I'm going to be taking on female clients this year based on their female archetypes. So the most common one that I've observed right now is the maiden. Okay. The maiden is a very interesting character because the full mature form of the maiden is the queen. Okay. So if you understand this, now you know you got to be a king, bro. Because all women have this access to this maiden energy, damsel in distress energy, when they're frustrated, when they're challenged by life, right? It's like almost like they get this yin yang integration effect from trying to protect themselves. And it creates this, again, these are all kind of, my own interpretations. And it creates this kind of like vortex, right? Of pure positive, soft, caring, motherly energy. The mother and the maiden are quite similar in that sense too of the archetypes, right? But I'm still looking into this, right? It's not the full picture yet, but think of like a Rihanna energy who's got that soft, like good girl, bad girl side, right? And it's like that rambunctiousness of Rihanna, but still a little bit of that cheekiness, like, lollipop energy, like a diva type of energy, right? Um, the diva is another archetype. I'm sure that could be included, but it's according to you and what archetype you want. All right. So if you do the quiz and you find that I don't resonate with any of these, that's fine. We'll do your own archetype in a sense. So if you're really like, oh, I'm really drawn to Cleopatra energy, sure, we can work on that. Okay. So reach out to me for that if that interests you. That's a lot of energy healing work as well. A lot of us, we have dysfunctional families, past traumas, different things that we need to work on. So obviously we need to clear the vessel, right? And when you clear the vessel, you have this responsibility to fill that vessel with new positivity and new information that actually helps you, not fill it with the same old BS. It's like a lot of you guys are doing inner work, but leaving the vessel open, and all these entities are being channeled in and all this stuff is just coming into you. But you got to understand that it's like that restaurant analogy, right? The spirit can't come in if you're like blocked to spirituality, right? If you're like, yeah, whatever, higher power, yeah, divine what, so what, whoever, right? If you do that, you're going to block off the blessings in a sense. And it's interesting because language has always been against us, right? So even the word be bless has the word be less in it, right? So when people are actually blessing us, they're be lessing. But this is how I've reframed it. This is how I've reframed it, right? They're being less of their fake selves and they're being more real, their authentic selves. So be less, they're blessing us, but they're be lessing the cursing, right? So they're making less the curse. They're be lessing the curse. So that's the way I've reframed it. Um, because otherwise, to be less, nobody wants to be less. But it's the same thing with these other words, right? Weekend, weekdays. Like I don't want to be in a weekdays, right? But this is the key, the secret of the language of the gods, right? Language is the secret of the gods in a sense, right? As AZD would say. So when we really start to explore this, it gives us another layer into our communication styles, into our text game. Because, I got a message from a girl today, and she said, wow, it's like, you're speaking such a poetic language. Like I'm hypnotized into that world, you know? And I start to understand that all I'm doing is I'm just accessing my own subconscious mind, right? And it's interesting because there is this talk of the collective conscious mind, right? Collective unconscious, as Carl Jung would say, collective subconscious, you could think of it. Um, like a hive mind that we all exist in, right? In this culture. Media kind of creates a hive mind of its own. The internet is a hive mind of its own. It has energy to alley-oop on itself, right? And create new life and create new worlds and all this stuff. Like now we're going into this digital realm, like this metaverse and all this other shit, right? In the virtual. So where is the expansion here? This is what maximizers think like, right? What is the next thing to expand into? What is the next thing to do? Where's more value to give? You want to be a giver, not a taker. That's my message for you today, okay? You want to be more of a giver than you are a taker. And with that energy, it's going to expand everything, man. Because the bad boy taker vibe, there's still something off, right? Okay, you want to be a disagreeable giver. That is the leader. That is the director of the movie. That is the Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs, hella disagreeable, but he's a giver. He's giving a lot of his time. He's giving a lot of his energy, right? And he's on code. He's on purpose. So we follow that leadership energy in culture. We just go with it. We move with it. So when we can all tap into that energy together, now we have a movement. Now we have an empire, right? And now there's nothing getting in our ways. Upward Spiral Gang, may we never be the same again. Hope you enjoyed this video. Share this video if you enjoyed it with a friend who needs to hear this message today. Let's start with the end in mind. Let's be at the end. Let's be at the finish line. Let's live from it. And together we are going to create a beautiful flow state universe, man. Let's get it. Upward Spiral Gang, may we never be the same again. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Os.